Welcome back aboard BLERD FORCE 1 with your boys Mo and Ladi. And today we are reviewing Deadpool and Wolverine, the latest Marvel Cinematic Universe movie, starring, of course, Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. It's closing down the Fox universe, or is it? So what did we think about it, and should you be watching? And before we get into this review, get down there and hit like on this video. Ladi, it may sound crazy, but it ain't no lie. We're saying bye to 20th Century Fox and the Marvel properties they used to have. And what I just said is relevant to you. If you have seen this movie, if you haven't seen this movie, I will recommend get the hell out there and watch it, because it's really hard to talk about this movie without spoiling it. But to that end, we are initially going to give our spoiler-free thoughts about it. Ladi, how did you feel about this movie?
I put out a I guess what is it, a thread? Or yeah, I put out a thread right after I watched the movie. And you and quite a few people on thread seem to agree. I wasn't looking for anything. I just put it out that this was not just a movie. It was a celebration to younger Gen X and millennials. It was the people who grew up in that weird superhero era where movies were like very experimental. They were trying everything except the big names during that time. And it was I feel like that era was not looked back upon with such, good glasses, but this movie did a good ass job of making you remember, making you look back on that era with fondness. And that is what this movie was about. Like you said, it was a closeout of the Fox universe of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I gotta admit, I love this movie. I don't think it's as good as Deadpool 1, but people saying it's the weakest in the trilogy. I can't get with you on that one. I recently saw Deadpool 2. Y'all tripping. Y'all are tripping. Like, I think the people that are saying that haven't watched Deadpool 2 in a while. I recently saw Deadpool 2 like a month ago. You guys are tripping.
Yeah. Well, I will agree. I think this is better than Deadpool 2, which isn't to say I don't like Deadpool 2. And also, I think Deadpool 2 has a better story, but I think the execution is better in Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yes.
I also love this movie. Again, the story is not complex. Let's just agree with this. Can we agree? The story is fairly straightforward. It's a road trip fetch quest in a sense, involving some pretty high level bad guys and some multiversal shenanigans. I mean, this honestly could have been a Final Fantasy movie if you just changed out the characters and what was going on. That being said, it is full of Wolverine. It's full of Deadpool. It's as hilarious and vulgar and crass and heartfelt as a Deadpool movie should be. Which, like I said, the storylines are not exactly complex. So where this movie does the right thing is by giving emotional anchors to both of the principal characters so that you understand why they're going through all of this foolishness. It also presents a really kind of a bumbling bad guy in the TVA, and does a good job of introducing the TVA to people who have no idea who the fuck they are, but it introduces them pretty well. But more importantly, introduces Cassandra Nova in a way that makes her a convincing big bad, but also gives us like a pretty good, satisfying conclusion to all of this. And it manages to play around with the multiverse in the way that only Deadpool can. In a way that if you are a hardcore Marvel fan, it talks to you, it speaks directly to you and all of the things you thought over the years. And yes, as you said, if you're a fan of the Marvel, movies that Fox made, or even if you watched them and you were like, what the fuck is this? You got something out of it. There are cameos that I shouted out loud about. that I didn't see coming that were absolutely wonderful. And just for that alone, I'm going to give this high marks. But there actually is a real emotional journey going on in this movie that if you take the time to just get around the kind of the gonzo craziness that's going on and all of Wade's antics, there are real emotional stakes in this movie. And there's a couple parts that really like got me super emotional and made me realize like actually the writers, of the various movies have done a wonderful job of making me care about Wade and all of his found family. He has a little picture that he's like, these are who I'm fighting for. And I realized in that moment, I love those characters and hell yeah, go through hell or high water through the multiverse to save them because I don't want them to go away. And so I think it's a huge success. And of course, the box office is reflecting that right now too. So
I want to say it's already over $500 million.
Yeah, and it's definitely going to hit $1 billion. I think it was pretty clear that it would, unless there's a huge fall off in the next couple weekends. But I think there's a lot of really great word of mouth going on about this, not just here in America but around the world.
Yeah, this movie's probably going to get to 1 billion. 1 billion is the minimum. I almost say it might hit 1.2 or 1.3 billion.
Yeah, I mean, it would be interesting. I mean, it and Inside Out are going to compete for who's going to be the top movie of the year, which is crazy for an R-rated movie. Because I mean, this is the highest. It's the highest opening weekend for an R-rated movie. It's probably going to pass Joker. So it's well deserved, I think. Considering how much this is nostalgia bait, considering how much of this is member berries, considering how much of it is based on a fairly thin plot, they did a pretty damn good job of making something out of that. So, all that being said, that's going to be our spoiler-free review, views on it. If you want to, continue to hear our spoiler thoughts on this, you can continue on. But otherwise, thanks for joining us. So, Ladi, let's talk about all of the cameos. Okay, motherfucking Chris Evans is in this bitch. And
bro, oh my god. He said he's about to say it. Avengers Flame on. They got us so bad.
The way
I
they
like,
got
wait,
me.
Is this a variant of Captain America? Nope, it's fucking.
The way they got me on that, I was like, you motherfuckers, I love y'all so much for this. But, before that...
And I know Chris Evans had the biggest smile on his face.
He was... I know they did not have to twist his arm to come back. He was like, hell yeah, let's do this. That was hilarious. But there was... So the cameos were the pretty good ones. Like, Happy Hogan. So, they had, Happy's in it. You got... Johnny Storm, obviously. We had
wait. Let's talk about one more. I know you're going to bring it up. I want to talk about it as I remember.
Well, I was working.
Rumors are true.
Well, I was working my way through all of the people that as we saw them in the movie. But yeah, I mean, we saw. I mean, what? We knew Daphne Keene was coming back as X-23 / Laura. We had already talked about, Jennifer Garner was going to be back as Elektra. So that happened. We saw the various bad guys that we knew, like Toad and Pyro, and of course, they had Sabretooth was back too. But the other motherfucker that made me shout at the damn screen was goddamn Blade. I was like, fuck, what the hell? And I was like, I don't remember us talking about that. Motherfucking Wesley Snipes was in this bitch. And at that point,
when he walked through everybody because I went to a very, very millennial / older Gen X showing. Like it was covered with them. And every one of them was like, it was almost like when Tobey Maguire came through the portal and No Way Home. Like it wasn't. But this one was no one suspected it. Like, what the fuck?
And I heard his voice. I was like, hell no. And my boy Blade rolled out. Yes. Oh my God. First of all, it was great that they held that back. But I understand they revealed it at Comic-Con, but I hadn't seen the information until after I saw the movie. So that was dope. Channing Tatum comes out as Gambit, and they make a big joke about him never existing. But it was still pretty cool to see him in the comics accurate. Well, by the way, the comics accurate outfit looks stupid as hell in live action. I just want to say that. It looks dumb as fuck. But he had it on, and he was doing his thing, and it was dope. Like, there, the big fight scenes were dope. That's one thing this movie didn't skimp on, was the action sequences, which again makes up for a fairly thin plot. Like, let's be real, it's a fairly thin plot, but when they take time to just have fights, them shits go off. Like,
we got to talk about one more, the last and biggest of all the guest characters / Easter eggs. We got to talk about it.
Oh, go ahead. Hey, you got the floor, man. I'm letting you talk.
The rumors are true. The Wolverine. The Wolverine. Yes, Henry Cavill.
Henry
played as
motherfucking
Wolverine.
And by the way, looked like a goddamn boss at it too. But exactly. I just want to say, looked like a fucking boss. He looked bigger and more badass than Hugh ever looked as the Wolverine. But it also made me angry. I'm gonna tell you why.
Why?
I swear to God, if that's the only time we see Henry Cavill in the MCU, Feige, you got something to answer for. Because that's some bullshit. There's two people in this movie that cameoed in this movie that if I never see them in the MCU again, I'm going to be angry. Like, for real angry. And that's Henry Cavill and Daphne Keane. There's no fucking excuse for having two actors of their caliber who everyone wants to see and just having them for this one-off movie. That, like, don't play with my emotions like that. That is not cool. Like, seeing Henry Cavill turn around, my God, I mean, I damn near jumped out my seat.
Calvary.
Cavalry.
I just love how Deadpool said, the rumors are true.
It's like, come over here. We'll treat you way better than those guys down the street.
Oh, man. And also, Deadpool not holding back punches on the freaking, the one and only Blade. And then he looked at the screen. I said, oh, Ryan Reynolds, that is some low blow.
It's like, there's only one Blade. It's like, there's been like 5 of them. It's like, yeah, but there's only been one Blade and there'll only be one Blade. And I was like, you know what? Y'all stop. It ain't no reason to be mean like that. That is not, don't be that. Don't do that. We saw Hunter B-52 show up and was like, what the fuck are y'all doing here? Can we talk about Cassandra Nova and how fucking badass she was? My God, that, like,
the hand brain.
I was like,
just mind bending people.
I was like, please stop. Can you, like, please stop doing? She would remember did she drag Pyro? Was it no, it wasn't Pyro. She dragged Mr. Paradox by his skull. I was like, how disrespectful. She's so badass though, like, so badass that I'm like, is she the only one in the multiverse? Because, like, we need her back. But I'm pretty sure she'll be a one-off villain. She's so fucking powerful. But it was really cool. Like, not just the conception of her. Like, in the comics, she's very, very powerful. And in fact, fun fact, in the comics, she's responsible for the destruction of Genosha, like we saw in X-Men 97.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, in this one, she was pruned early on. Pruned early on in her life, and basically kept at the end of time with Alioth. And because she's so powerful, she basically has built a life there where she can be free to practice her, use her powers. So she was content. And then, of course, Mr. Paradox is like, basically ends up sending, Deadpool and Wolverine on a multiversal quest unintentionally, and kind of fucks her zen. And she really shows like, well, actually, you pretty much can't do shit to me. Like she could have gotten out of there at any time, but she didn't want to. She was happy where she was, which is a bit of a cop out, I think. But maybe she just doesn't want to conquer or something. But she did have a sling ring, and she was able to move between universes. So
which is crazy that she had a sling ring this entire time, and just like you said, she just decided to chill in there. I feel like a little bit of that towards the end. In my opinion, I would have liked her character much more if after the part where Wolverine just let them go. Like, remember when she let him go at the end? I would have been like, okay, this is cool. But then I want to destroy everything, and I'm just like,
but because reasons. I mean, she's just like, I was fine here, but they had to come bother me, and I'm like, they're leaving you alone now. What do you? Okay, sure.
Yeah,
whatever.
I felt like it ruined her character at the end.
Yeah,
because you went from a character that had some complexity to it to now just I wanted to it went to that I want to destroy all things type thing.
Yeah,
and I gotta admit, it created one of the best bromance parts of like movie history. But still, it just felt like it didn't need to be.
That was a very good climax to the movie. I enjoyed, the whole Deadpool, the Deadpool's fighting Wolverine and Deadpool. Also, I really liked handsome Deadpool, who had no powers at all. That was fun as hell. Like, and by the way, Dogpool, I don't care how ugly that dog is. That's the best dog in the world. I love that dog so much. They we can't shoot the dog. They shot up like, nice Deadpool, which was hilarious. It was like Van Wilder put on a Deadpool suit. That was fun. But the whole Deadpool fight was extra fun. Like, there's a lot of parts where I could tell they were just like, the script said, and then they fought. And then they just told the fight choreographer, just like, go fucking nuts, man. Just do whatever on this. Because it felt a lot like that. It was very well choreographed. Mm-hmm. How about, we hadn't talked about him. Let's talk about the GOAT of the whole movie. The GOAT. Peter Pool rolled out.
The legend himself.
I love the fact that in every universe there's a Deadpool, there's a Peter, and he's the best. He's just like, clearly all those other Deadpools suck, right? Like, a lot of them suck, but they have a Peter, and that's their guy. That's their homie, their best man. And like they're like, oh, Peter, and I'm like, man, dude, you're cool across the multiverse. That's what's up.
They called him the legend himself.
That was and that just call back to, like, remember I said there's a lot of shit going on in this. Some of it is just because they can for fun, but throwing that bit with Peter in there after that big fight sequence just reminds us again, like, well, actually, Deadpool's found family is very important, and they are likable, and we love all of them, and it's reinforced by that ending sequence where now Laura is part of it. He goes back and gets her from the end, the end of time, and now she's in his universe and part of his found family, and I love that so much. Like, all of that was really, really nice. Because that's what's important, man, is you gotta care about these characters, and I have to say they've done a good job of making me care about, and because we've seen Wade's journey from the first one to this third one as he's finding out how to be the hero he wants to be, but also trying to hold on to the good things in life, and like reconnecting with Vanessa, getting his mojo back, so to speak. And not worrying about not being an Avenger. I thought it was all really good. So I highly recommend this movie. This movie's great. I hope it's got a lot of rewatchability, but at the very least right now, it's kind of what the MCU needs to kind of not to get back on track, but just to remind people why they want to watch Marvel movies. And I think this is a good start. So, anyway, Ladi, I think that's all of our thoughts on this movie. What did you guys think about it? What do you think about what we had to say? Get down to the comment section, leave your thoughts there. And of course, you can always hit us up, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com, blerd_force1 on Instagram and Threads. And it's super_not_funny show on TikTok. And while you're doing that, do us a favor, get down there, hit like on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. All that good stuff helps to grow this channel, helps more people to see content just like this. All right, thanks for joining us. Come back to the channel. We got more reviews, reactions, and podcasts. So until then, I've been Mo, your comment extraordinaire on all things pop culture, joined by the anime expert, video game designer, and lover of all things superhero, my good friend Ladi. And we'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace.
Peace.